like the video.
I made a community post on YouTube asking you all to ask me literally whatever you wanted, so prepare yourself for a generational yap sesh because I'm looking at 80 comments. Let's just start the show.
Derapy. What would you consider as your all-time favorite video game?
Super Smash Bros. Melee, FIFA 16, Halo 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the original one. I could go on. I should probably keep these shorter for time's sake. No?
I'm begging you.
Favorite dinosaur?
Dude, I don't even know. I can't name any dinosaurs. Is a pterodactyl a dinosaur?
It's a bird.
I just assumed the dinosaurs have to be on like at least 4 legs. I said at least, like there are more than 4. I don't know. Are dinosaurs even real? Is that anti-science to even ask? I'm gonna just go with a pterodactyl because the screech is crazy. I'm gonna see if my editor will just add one in.
How do you expect me to add in a screech from a fake bird?
Do you have any tips for rapping? I'm trying to write some raps as a hobby, but all my bars suck. And I heard some of your freestyles in the outro, and it was really good. Love your show, BTW.
Thank you. Your boy, Chris, 1247. Tips for rapping. It's kind of hard to... Okay, so here's what I would say. If there are a couple of artists that you like, I feel like personally my rapping style kind of is based on the artists that I listened to since I was like a young teenager. So first I listened to the Black Eyed Peas, but I don't think there's a lot of influence from them in my raps. But I will say Lil Wayne, Lil Dicky, Childish Gambino, Mac Miller, Big Sean, Jay-Z, but I wouldn't say the influence is there that much from Jay-Z. Drake, obviously. I just listen to a lot of it. I would say that like freestyling helps a lot because then you get used to how to deliver it. Also like freestyling with friends growing up, just throwing on a beat and just trying to rap like your favorite artist. So that will get you used to how it's supposed to sound. As far as writing it, I mean, all the freestyles that I do are kind of just stolen beats, if I'm being honest. So I would like download the beat and then I just kind of like try to write a few bars at a time. Sometimes I write the bars before I actually add them to like a specific beat. I don't know. It just depends. Like my writing style varies. All the outro freestyles that you guys hear, I actually recorded all of them either in 2021, 2022, or 2023. None of those are from this year. I have not written a rap in a while. So I will get back to you on this because I definitely need to do some new raps, some new freestyles for sure.
Forever Story review / analysis. When?
The Forever Story by Jid is one of my favorite rap albums ever. I will definitely do a review or analysis of it at some point. This most recent review that I did and breakdown of Chromacopia, I used to think that I would have a really hard time doing episodes where I talk in depth about albums without playing the music, but seeing the reception from it, it seems like people just didn't care about that nearly as much as I did. I was also trying to get around some copyright stuff because I spend lots and lots of time obviously on the episodes and I want to make them as good as possible, and that's always been kind of the goal, and I always thought making them as good as possible meant listening to all of the music and having everybody react to it with me. But it seems like people don't actually really need that, and now that I know that, I can kind of justify spending a lot of time doing album breakdowns. The Chromacopia album review and breakdown, by the way, was like 85 to 90% scripted. I don't know if anybody can tell that. It's not like this episode where I'm like really just kind of freestyling with the answers. But yeah, to answer your question, I love that album and it's coming, I'm not going to say soon, but at some point. I mean, oh my God, it's almost November. Maybe not this year, but eventually.
People jump straight from music, but what other hobbies do you have? Gaming, art, etc. Would love to hear your current gaming choices or some detail.
I'm so glad that somebody asked me about this because I feel like when it comes to certain content creators, they don't probably give you a lot of insight into their lives outside of the content that they create. But I used to do that all the time with the show because it's called Derapy. It used to just be all about me. But now I'm more so focused on doing like individual topics, individual like events or songs or albums. So what do I do when I'm not podcasting or listening to music? I listen to other people's podcasts. And I play Xbox a lot. This is going to answer a couple questions because a lot of people are asking about games. I'm currently kind of obsessed with the new college football game, the EA Sports College Football 25 game. I am constantly recruiting half the time I'm playing the game, I'm not even playing the game anymore. But I have actually gotten pretty nice with the game. If you're on Xbox, by the way, and you're trying to jump on the sticks and like test me in college football, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like super deep into strategies on the game, like, but I go pretty hard with the Texas A&M playbook. But like, dude, I'd be running coach suggestions, but I do play on Heisman, so like, but I also mainly just like thrive on offense. Like, I really be playing offense only, dude. I'm such a boomer. But yeah, I play college football 25. I used to be obsessed with Halo Wars. I love playing FIFA. I still play the old school Star Wars Battlefront 2. They have a classic collection now where they remastered it. I haven't been on that in a little bit, but yeah. I jump on the Halo Master Chief collection every once in a while. I just downloaded Black Ops 6, but I literally haven't touched it. I'm like terrified to go online and get just absolutely smoked by these kids. But yeah, I love video games. So thank you for asking. Oh, also, you asked about other hobbies. I love playing basketball, and I love watching TV and movies. I would say, I don't know if this counts as a hobby or more of like just a general activity. I go to the movie theater all the time. Like, I've seen over 24 movies in the theater this year. I love watching movies in the theater. And I also love watching like bad television with my wife. Like, we watched literally 10 seasons of Love Island UK, which is where like my brilliant UK accent comes from. We love Love is Blind, Love Island. We've watched literally every season of Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. I love that show. So yeah, those are some of my favorite things to do for sure.
Yeah, this episode's gonna be like an hour.
If you couldn't listen to rap anymore, what artist or genre would you listen to?
Great question. I love pop music. I love Bruno Mars and Michael Jackson and Ariana Grande. I love pop music in general. I like R&B, but like generally I feel like I have to be in a very specific mood, or I have to like
A mood?
yeah, I'm usually not listening to R&B unless it's like directly recommended to me, but like I really love hip hop and rap so much and what that genre brings to me. So I hope under no circumstance am I ever in a place where I cannot listen to that anymore, because that's kind of where all my favorite artists are. But I just love pop music also, so that I'd probably stick with that. And I also like a little bit of rock here and there. I had this like little Queen phase. I went to see the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, and I became like a fake Queen fan for a little bit, because it was one of those situations where I was like, I didn't realize all of these popular songs were all made by this band. Like, I heard We Will Rock You, and I was like, oh, that's nice. And then I heard Somebody to Love, and I was like, oh, that's them too. That's crazy. And then I heard We Are the Champions. I was like, wait a second. And then I heard Don't Stop Me Now, which like that song goes unbelievably hard. This is the time where I would usually tell my editor to use that song for the outro, but I'd like to keep this episode monetized. So
What if I just did it anyways?
I think he wants to be paid. So
I was just kidding.
How does it feel to be answering all these questions?
I feel pretty good about it so far. I'm not going to lie.
Since you did mention YouTube, I will ask you about it. As someone who also happens to have his own little channel, which I haven't uploaded in a while, this might as well sound stupid, but how do you go through the process of embracing the platform full time from just something you may be do as a hobby or have an inclination towards? And how do you deal with the inner dialogue of, would this work? Or how would I keep up with it? Or is this me enough? And all that. What advice would you give regarding the person behind the work rather than the work itself, if that makes sense?
Okay, so how do I go as far as embracing the platform full time? People would be surprised to know that it's pretty easy for me to stay engaged with what I do. The only way I'm able to put out as much content as I do and engage with people as much as I am is because I happen to have a remote job, and it's not like answering phones or anything, so I don't have to be extremely active. It's kind of a social media based job, so as long as I'm posting when I need to and I react and respond to things as they happen, I'm actually able to do content kind of like at the same time that I'm doing this job. So for example, like if I'm in the middle of recording a show and like I have like a random coughing fit, or I just need to take a break at any time, or I'm just like for example, when I was doing Chromacopia yesterday, when I'm in between songs, that's a good time to check in on my job, do some work, make some posts, etc. So I don't think that what I am doing with this show would be possible if I had like a traditional job. I'm not going to lie. As far as how do I deal with the inner dialogue of would this work or how would I keep up with it or is it me enough? That is something that I struggled with a little bit when the channel started to like kind of more or less blow up. And I use that word like that phrase rather relatively speaking, like as far as blowing up. I think it's safe to say going from 200 subscribers to 20,000 in a matter of a couple months is I feel like it's fair to say that it's kind of blown up. But I got so used to putting out hundreds and hundreds, like no exaggeration, actually it's just 200.
That's 200s.
I put out over 200 episodes where I literally never had more than a few dozen or a couple hundred people listen, and that was really only when I started putting them on YouTube. I got so used to just trusting myself and trusting my own sense of humor and my editor's input in his sense of humor. I got so used to just trusting those things and just being satisfied if my brother thought it was funny or my wife actually decided to listen to it or a few friends of mine found the titles interesting or the content interesting. After a while, I just got used to doing it for myself if it made me laugh. Like my process is so like crazy intensive and ridiculous when it comes to me and when it comes to the editing. I usually end up listening to the show 3 or 4 times over before it actually goes out to the public. And I feel like that's probably the heart of my show. That's the reason why I think it's as successful as it is, because of the work that's put into post. But how would I keep up with it can be difficult because there is going to be a time where the views are low, whether it be before or after you build an audience, and you have to like remind yourself that even if nobody's listening, or relatively speaking, nobody's listening, you still have value. What you're doing still has value. Like in a way, it's, you know, not to throw KSI in here, but it's like a part of your legacy. Like it's a part of your life. Like what you're doing, if you're creating content that you plan on putting out for public consumption, it's going to live on. People in your family, for future generations, or people that barely know you, if they ever want to know what you're up to or how you're doing, like the tone of your voice and the effort that you put into the creative side of it, you just have to remember that that stuff matters regardless of who's listening or how many people are listening or for how long. I hope that answered your question.
Do you listen to Absol, and have you heard his new song with Jid?
I don't really listen to Absol like that, but now that I know that he has a new song with Jid, I'll check it out at some point.
Who is the most famous person you've met in person?
I've never actually had a real conversation with a famous person. The closest I've gotten to like a real interaction is I went to a comedy show that Andrew Santino was performing at, the comedian, and we had a little bit of a back and forth, but he was technically still like doing jokes kind of. So I don't know if that really counts, but yeah, I guess Andrew Santino, a popular comedian from the podcast that I used to listen to all the time, Bad Friends. And I should revisit that one day. I made this episode a really long time ago where I talked about all the podcasts I listened to and why. I used to listen to Bad Friends with him and Bobby Lee. I don't listen to it anymore for reasons that I can't even think of right now. But yeah, Andrew Santino's on that podcast, and he's on the popular show Dave. So yeah, that was pretty cool. He was chill.
What made you decide to do a podcast?
I'm so glad that somebody asked this. So in early 2021, I was driving full time for Lyft. And when you're doing that, you're just in the car all the time. And I used to do this thing where I was like, I'm going to be in the car all day. I'm going to pick one artist. I'm going to literally go through their entire discography. And I literally got to a point where all my favorite artists, I listened to their entire discography. And I was like, I literally don't have any more music that I want to listen to, and I will die before I listen to the radio. So I was like, what are some good podcasts? And then I started listening to some, and
the editing was subpar.
Some of them were really cool, and some of them like really sucked. And I was like, I could do better than this. I have a journalism degree. I'm funny. I could yap. It can't be that hard. So I started my own, and I'm not gonna lie, when I started it, it was complete dog water. Like the early episodes of my podcast are so bad. You can tell there's no editing. Nobody listened to it before it went out. It's just you think I'm yapping now. Oh brother. But yeah, I just listened to podcasts and I thought I could do better, and I thought, what's one more? So, yeah.
What he meant to say is I saved the show.
Will you ever reveal your face? Do you hide it for work reasons? Something I've wrestled with.
You do not have to wrestle with this anymore. I am not hiding my face. If you look at the shorts on my YouTube channel, you can see me. I also have a link to my Twitter, and you can like see me there, my profile picture. I do a weekly live show, NFL show, every Thursday, and I'm constantly trying to get people to go and watch it, where I show my face. So I'm not hiding my face because of any like particular reason. It's just the way that my show works. It wouldn't make sense if I was doing it with a face cam because of all the editing that goes into it. And I just feel like the more people see of me, the more they're focused on like how I look and what's going on in the background and what my face is doing and what's happening with my body. And I really just want them to enjoy the show, if I'm being honest with you.
Nah, you're ashamed of that ugly mug.
Do you like to read books? If so, what are some of your favorite books? What are you currently reading?
I used to read when I was much younger. I had a very did you guys do accelerated reading when you were younger, like where they had like the reading levels? I just remember being really proud of the fact that like I think I was like in 5th or 6th grade, and they're like, based on the books that you're able to read, you're reading at a 12th grade level, whatever that means. Like I used to read Harry Potter books when I was a kid, and I stopped reading for a really, really long time. I think after college, like my brain was completely fried. So I stopped reading books for a while, and I consume everything via Twitter and
He was about to lie here.
Twitter. But I did start reading last year again. I used to love James Patterson books when I was a kid, like these crime stories, and I tried to read the entire Alex Cross series. There are so many books in that series, and they're all about one guy, and after a while I was like, I don't think I could take this guy being in danger seriously because there are 12 more books that have his name on them. But the last great thing that I read the entire Invincible comic series. And that was the first and last comic that I ever read, and it was absolutely awesome. If you want to get into comics, read Invincible, because the show was awesome, but the comic is actually better. But to be fair, I read the entire comic and the show's still running. But yeah, where's season 3, William?
It's actually coming out in February.
Would you rather never have a cold drink again or never have a hot meal again? As in, whichever you choose, the temperature will be like it's been sitting out for a couple hours.
There's literally no reason anybody should choose having a cold meal forever. Like, I have room temperature drinks when I'm drinking wine, and a lot of times, like if we're having like a date night or whatever, the wife and I, like, we'll have wine with steak. Like it's pretty dope. And room temperature water is not going to kill you. Like it's fine. So yeah, this is easier than I think anybody probably thought it would be.
My friend and I have been discussing this for a while now, and we've come to different conclusions, but who do you think is a better artist between 21 and Travis? I could probably ask a better question, but I want you to set the record straight.
21 Savage is probably a better rapper, but you're asking who the better artist is, so it has to be Travis Scott, because he's producing his own tracks, like, I think just on a sheer talent level. Because here's the thing. It's like 21 Savage isn't that much better at rapping than Travis Scott, but when it comes to the production ability, Travis Scott is literally in his own universe. So that makes it to where, like, when we're talking about overall music artists, it's not even really a discussion, you know? This is why it's important to clarify exactly what the argument is. So if you're like, who's a better rapper? I'm going to be like, I feel like 21 can kind of rap better. But if you're asking about artists, it's got to be Travis.
How can I make more educated picks each week for football games when I'm a noob at the sport and new to playing as well?
During football season, I listen to 3 shows, I think, that are in the podcast format. So there's First Things First, which is on Fox Sports. It features Nick Wright. I love him. I don't care what you think. I'm not going to argue with you. Chris Broussard and Kevin Wildes, they just talk about the storylines of the week, and they just kind of go over the games or whatever. I also listen to The Herd with Colin Cowherd. I only listen to Hour 1 and Hour 2. J-Mac is kind of annoying, but we're not here to talk about that. He blocked me on Twitter, by the way. He's not actually annoying. Funny story that nobody's going to care about. So Jason McIntyre is this sports media personality. He is part of The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd is like kind of the face of Fox Sports, and he has his own show. And Jason McIntyre is kind of like the sidekick, more or less, right? So Jason McIntyre, I saw him posting on Twitter. He reposted something once and he was like, is this real? And the account that he reposted from was called Ballsack Sports. Okay. Now, you don't have to be like an expert in media literacy to understand that something tweeted by Ballsack Sports is probably not legit. And I basically retweeted his post and I was like, did Jason McIntyre just get ball sacked? ? And he blocked me on Twitter. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, listen to sports podcast. I listen to First Things First. I listen to The Herd with Colin Cowherd, even though the co-host blocked me on Twitter. And I listen to, if you really want the best information for sports betting, especially for the NFL, listen to the Favorites podcast. Don't just follow their picks blindly. I just go there for the information, and then I make my own picks based off of what they're talking about. But they're like obsessed with following trends and all these like nerdy analytics. Like, oh, you want to get the best of the numbers. This is the pros versus the Joes. Oh, 2 is a key number. 2.5 is a key number. 3 is a key number. 6 is a key number. 7.5 is a key number. 10 is a key number. It's a lot of it's nonsense, but when they're actually talking about the games and who they think is just going to straight up win the game, that's how I learn a lot about. That informs a lot of my weekly NFL picks. I've been doing pretty good this year.
You and your quote unquote editor are the same person, right? Like, it's just a joke when you refer to quote unquote my editor.
I knew somebody would ask this. And to be honest, like, we do sound alike. I do refer to him as my editor or editor Derek, but his name's spelled different than mine. My name's actually spelled Deryk. And his name is not spelled like that because he is like normal. But it's just a coincidence that's both of our names. We are different entities. I would argue that he does just as much, if not more work than me sometimes, so I'm extremely grateful for him. But yeah, I do think it's a little bit weird that sometimes people are like, oh, the editor is funnier than Derek. Than Derapy, he's funnier than the host. He should have his own show. Like, oh, his comedic timing is just perfect. And it's like, okay, that's easy to say when like you aren't the one actually putting yourself out there. Like, nobody's gonna cancel my editor, right? Like all the work that he does is in post. Like, dude pops in with sound bites and filters and he does great work. I definitely couldn't do the show without him. But like, at the end of the day, he doesn't have to deal with like the front facing stuff.
We can't see you.
He doesn't come up with topics or ideas really. He just kind of cleans up, adds bits, background music. He's responsible for making sure the mood is right. And of course, we don't get canceled.
Derek hates men with feet and blind people.
Love him though.
Did you know the ducks at the park are free? You can just take them.
Thank you, Johnny Boy 3948. I did know that.
The worst part of being a content creator?
It's so embarrassing that this is my third time recording an answer for this, but I'm going to say it's mainly two things. One is the feedback that I get in the YouTube studio is so absurd. It's like playing a video game and dying, and then the game telling you, like, it's not just like the wasted or you died screen. It's also like, you know you suck, right? Like, you know that you suck, right? And would you like to know how you suck? Actually, we're just going to show you. You don't even have to hit anything. We're just going to show you. And YouTube will say, or the studio will say that like they're just providing you tools and resources to make your content better and to keep people on your channel and get them to subscribe and like and all that retention. But actually, a lot of it just makes me feel bad. Like those rankings where it's like, this is how your video performed compared to your last 10 videos. Like that 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10 makes you feel really good. And if you see like 7, 8, 9, 10, always makes you feel kind of down, especially if it's something that you put a lot of work into. But it's crazy that the feedback that I get from YouTube directly somehow affects me way more than any of the comments. 99% of the comments that I get are really nice. And I think that's kind of a testament to the community I built. I'm extremely proud of the community that we built, by the way. You guys make content creation not hard. And I think that your audience is kind of a reflection of the type of content that you put out. I think that my audience skews a little bit older and a little bit more rational. And by older, I don't mean like 50s, 60s, 70s, but I mean just closer to 25 than to 15, which I think is good. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. Content creation could be a lot harder if I dealt with a lot of hate or talked about a lot of controversial things, but I don't. We're just out here trying to have fun. So yeah, it is what you make it. Don't look in the YouTube studio. And if you get like 3 or 4 negative comments from the same person, never go back and forth with anybody. Just delete them. Just remove them from the channel. Because if the feedback, if the criticism is legitimate, then it won't come from a place of like, this shit is ass. You have no idea what you're talking about. Like, those people aren't like, they're mad about something that has nothing to do with you. So yeah, there's just there's a little unsolicited advice for aspiring content creators.
What's one of your favorite albums in any genre and why?
People don't understand how good Michael Jackson's Thriller is, and I know that sounds stupid, but if you actually look at the track list, you realize that not only is every song a hit, like almost every song on the album is actually a classic. Want to be starting something to start the album? Banger. Baby Be Mine, one of the greatest songs ever made. The Girl Is Mine, classic. Thriller, classic. Beat It, classic. Billie Jean, classic. Human Nature, great song. Pretty Young Thing, classic. The Lady of My Life, incredible closer. It's basically a perfect album. Like, between that album, Igor, which I will one day be doing a full breakdown of Igor, one of my 3 favorite albums ever, and To Pimp a Butterfly, which I'm currently in the middle of. If you want to know why I love that album so much, I've already put out like 4 videos on it. So yeah, check out the playlist section of my YouTube channel. But yeah, those are my 3 favorite albums of all time, and check them all out.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Could you please do a review of Vince Staples' Dark Times album? I think it got overshadowed by the rap beef because it is really a solid record.
I agree. It is a really solid record, and I think it did get overshadowed by the rap beef. I'm not going to review it, though. It is a very good album, though, and people should listen to it.
Since it's nearing Halloween, I'm wondering what would be the scariest horror movie you've seen so far, if you watch horror stuff.
I watch a surprising amount of horror movies, or at least I have. The scariest movie I had seen when I saw it the first time, I don't know if I said that right. I don't care. Sinister. Sinister fucked me up. I'm not gonna lie. Like that movie is insane. Sinister, scary. The first Insidious goes pretty hard. I'm not like mentioning the scariest movies ever, even though I know that's what you asked for. But these are just some of my favorite. Hereditary goes pretty crazy. What's that other Ari Aster movie? I know there's Midsommar. It goes pretty hard. Yeah, those are pretty freaky movies. Oh, Long Legs is a wild movie. If you go into it blind, like, it's gonna freak you out. Like that movie's pretty scary. Yeah.
Okay, this guy did not lock in for that question at all. Could you please comment the scariest movie you've ever seen? October is almost over, and editor Derek wants to catch 1 or 2 more.
Is there an artist or band you really like outside of hip-hop? If so, what about them?
I think I kind of already answered this, but I would say Bruno Mars is probably my favorite artist that doesn't make rap music. When that Leave the Door Open song came out, I'm pretty sure it was the song I listened to most that entire year. So, yeah.
Bruno Anderson, give me another Silk Sonic album, and my life is yours.
Okay, but for real, some other artists that I listen to that are not rappers. Beyonce is a GOAT. Rex Orange County was my favorite for years. I like some of the New Chapel Roan. I've listened to a couple of Sabrina Carpenter songs. Claro's pretty dope. I grew up on the Black Eyed Peas. I love their older stuff. Anderson .Paak solo albums are great. Charlie XCX Brat is pretty dope. Justin Timberlake's new album was all right. I love Ariana Grande, love Billie Eilish, love Dua Lipa, love The Weeknd. Olivia Rodrigo is all right. Roy has this one song called Crystal Express from the FIFA 16 soundtrack that is an absolute like banger to me. I like a little T-Swizzle here and there, but I don't seek it. SZA is goated. Ty Dolla $ign, I don't think he's really hip. He's more R&B to me, but he's one of the only R&B artists that I would voluntarily listen to. I used to bump Justin Bieber so hard when I was younger. Y'all remember The Dream? Y'all don't even know about The Dream. I used to bump Usher when I was a kid. KSI used to make good music. John Legend I don't actively listen to, but I liked him. ABBA, Dancing Queen, Let's Go, and Steve Lacy. That newer joint he has, Gemini Rights, I think. Bro, the album might not have a skip. I love that album. But yeah, those are some artists that I listen to outside of rap and hip hop. So thank you. All right, I'm gonna try and speed round some of this and see what I can do to try and give my editor a little bit less work, okay? What's my favorite brand of bottled water? I do not have one. I prefer my water cold and not Dasani. Would you ever be a guest on another podcast asking for a friend? If the friend is you, that's fine. If it's actually for a friend, that's cool too. The thing about being another guest on a podcast is I'm going to need you to like tell me what the topic is, DM me on Instagram, set up a time, invite me to a Zoom or a StreamYard thing. I just need you to be proactive with it. Like, tell me what you want. Tell me when it's going to happen. Tell me how I join and I'll do it. Like, I just want to minimize the back and forth because, again, this is a very small operation over here and I have a life, and like the less back and forth stuff we have to do. Like, I am down to pretty much jump on anybody's show and yap about anything. I'm a professional yapologist.
Do comedic podcasters make good stand-up comedians?
Generally speaking, I feel like the more these stand-ups spend time on podcasts, the less funny they actually are when they do stand-up. But generally speaking, even though I'm a big fan of stand-up, I don't have like a good, long-winded, well-rounded answer, but I would argue that the best comedians are probably not spending a lot of time podcasting. They're spending a lot of time just focusing on being good stand-up comedians. Oh, this question is for your editor, Derapy. If you're reading this, don't scroll down. Okay, well, I'm just going to ask the question, and then when my editor gets this, he'll answer it. Okay, now that he's gone, I'm still here. What are your plans on how to eventually take over the entire channel and achieve world domination? I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
Can you shut the fuck up?
I'm just waiting for the channel to grow big enough to where it'll be worth it.
Okay, this is an important question. In all seriousness, I ask if you could live anywhere you want to be on Earth or somewhere else. It doesn't matter. Where would you want to live and why?
My life is awesome. I don't take anything for granted. My wife is here. My show is here. My family is here. I am happy with where I am. I would not rather be anywhere else. Top 3 cheeses: cheddar, mozzarella, Monterey Jack. Can you do an album review of Jay Dilla's Donuts? I mean, I can.
I mean, he could.
But will I?
Are you taken? And if not, are you interested in dating me?
And in parentheses, it says 6'4", 430-pound Nigerian king.
Message the Derapy Podcast Instagram.
I have a wife. Who's your favorite artist that you haven't had a chance to cover on the show yet? I don't think I've done any like Bruno Mars related stuff yet. I'd love to do that. I have a personal list of music/film that I call dumb fun. It's stuff that isn't usually on list of the greatest. It ain't deep. It's just enjoyable. Some might call it a guilty pleasure, but I don't feel guilty about it anyways. I'd like to hear if you have such favorites too. I watched the Mean Girl musical earlier this year, and it was fire. I think I've seen it twice in total. There are a couple of things that I enjoy like that are just like fun, goofy, silly fun. I think my wife and I are going to rewatch all the Transformers movies soon. But yeah, I appreciate stuff like that. Who's your biggest inspiration, the person who influenced you to do what you do now? Honestly, when I first started the podcast, there were a few that I really enjoyed. I like the Bad Friends podcast, but I wouldn't say that inspired me to be where I am right now. The Call Her Daddy podcast, I discovered around the time that it started, back when it was Alex Cooper and Sophia Franklin. I will say that there are some content creators that have had an influence on the kind of content that I do. Well, not the kind of content I do, but kind of like the approach that I take. Like watching Corey Kenshin and his editing style really definitely it kind of influenced how my editor and I put the show together. I really like the incorporation of sound and memes and bites. So yeah, Corey Kenshin was fun. I obviously listen to a lot of really talented sports broadcasters, so I've kind of modeled myself after them a little bit as far as their level of preparation and detail. But I would honestly say, as far as like my commitment to just having as much fun as possible when creating the show, Call Her Daddy, Corey Kenshin, Childish Gambino, just people that are kind of like unapologetically themselves and kind of speak without filter at times. Do I fuck with the Beatles? Sure. Simple question. What do you use to record and edit your videos? So currently I'm using a handheld mic. I have 2 microphones now. I have an Audio Technica mic or something. Honestly, I cannot find like the box of it. I don't really know what it's called. Pay $1, become a member, and all that information is in the Discord. But for time's sake, the main microphone that I use is a Samsung SAMSON-Q9U microphone. I'm pretty sure it's under $200. You can get it. It's really, really great quality. The headphones oftentimes I just use AirPods, but I also just recently got like a new pair of I think these are Audio-Technica headphones. I don't know. I'll try and remember. I'll just have my editor like throw that information, and I'm gonna be honest with you. More complex question: why do you listen to rap music? What makes it so special to you that it is one of the main focuses on your podcast? And do you have a memory with a rap song that particularly sticks with you to this day? Oh yeah, love your podcast, man. You are so personable and funny AF. That is incredibly kind. Shout out to Not Normal, but there's a K in the middle. That's sick. I appreciate you. That's very kind. So why do I listen to rap music? Because it's fun. I love rap and hip hop. I think it's just the best genre. I think that the artist is kind of like using their voice as the instrument at times, at least the best ones do. I love the different flows. I feel like there's no, I also just love the competitive aspect to it. Like, I don't think Ariana Grande puts out an album and Billie Eilish puts out an album and there's like serious debate about who's a better singer, who's a better artist. I mean, that conversation probably does happen, but like there's no beef, there's no disses, there's no shots. I like the competitive nature of rap. It kind of reminds me of sports. The beats are crazy. All the best parties you go to, in my opinion, at least in my lifetime, they were featuring like the hottest hip hop at the time. Memories that stand out to me, where do I begin? Like, I could wax poetically about this for so long. I just remember that this is a podcast and I can actually do that. Okay. My earliest memories with like very impactful rap music were Drake and Lil Wayne, and also Jay-Z's The Blueprint 3, the Black Eyed Peas Monkey Business album. I love those. I just remember like being so excited with my boy Chancey, who I've mentioned in previous episodes. That's not his real name. We were so excited for the Carter Forest release, and I just love I love Lil Wayne and the energy that he rapped with and the punchlines. I would say it's probably like my number one inspiration as far as whatever minimal rap ambition I have. But God, listening to Mac Miller all throughout college because my roommate Jordan was always playing him. I had like all of that Good AM album almost completely memorized because we used to play it all the time when we were playing FIFA in our dorm room together. Sheck Wes's Mo Bamba like is stuck in my head because when that was playing at like parties in college, God bless anybody that got to have a college experience at the same time that Mo Bamba dropped. I mean, what a time to be alive. Also, there's a song that was banned from our fraternity because every time we played it, the floor at the house would break. It was called Fenito. I think it was by Chief Keef. Speaking of Chief Keef, Love Sosa was like this. It was such a moment in time. Rap is it's so cool. Like, I mean, does that song, You a Jerk, count? I remember jerking. The dance. Okay, there was a dance called The Jerk in high school, and in hindsight, what a crazy name for a dance. But between that and the Dougie and hitting the Quan, I just feel like there are so many cultural moments, dance crazes, trends that are just intertwined with the history of hip hop and rap music, from Crank That Soulja Boy all the way up into whatever the hell kids are doing now in 2024. I just think rap and hip hop is so important, and the way that certain artists like Tyler the Creator and Kendrick and Childish Gambino kind of push the boundaries of what rap can be. It could be as simple as just bars. You know, somebody that's just really good at rhyming or rapping fast like Eminem, or it could be somebody that's telling a story like Kendrick, or somebody that's really painting a picture and using rap in metaphoric ways like Tyler the Creator with the boat on Call Me If You Get Lost, or Quadeca climbing the mountain on his From Me to You album. I just feel like there are so many different creative and wonderful ways that rap and hip hop can be experienced. And wow, what a great question. Really got me yapping. Appreciate it. That's going to be hell for my editor to get through, but you know, it came from the heart. Thank you so much.
You're good, buddy.
What is the first time you remember looking forward to a movie that ended up bad?
Oh my God. One of the only movies I've ever walked out of was that Fantastic Four remake that had Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. That shit was ass. That movie was terrible. I literally walked out in the middle of it. I also thought Eternals was going to be good. Walked out in the middle of that too. Something about those superhero movies, you know, you expect so much. You ever played Nier Automata? I don't know what that is. Top 3 species of fish? No. Have you always been so good at telling stories? Where did your sense of humor come from? Ooh. Believe it or not, I was the class clown in elementary school, and continued that role in middle school. I was always trying to get people to look at me, listen to me. I used to write stories when I was in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, like kid stories about like I think it was this series that I started called Superfly, and Superfly would team up with Super Butterfly, and Superfly's arch nemesis was Firefly. I don't know, man. I've just always been spinning tales. In hindsight, I wish I would have continued that. I could have been like a best-selling children's author. Like that joint went hard. But yeah, I've just always been into yapping. Like when I was in high school, I was the MC for the pep rallies. I was always getting other people to make noise. I was doing the morning announcements. I was our school's mascot. I was mad school spirited. I would show up at all the games. I always just wanted people to hear me. And look at me now. What was the moment or who inspired you to pursue your main goals in life? I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to the Derapy podcast, it was all me, buddy. I wasn't inspired by anybody specifically. I will say, as far as the number one person that I can attribute my willingness to keep going, that's my brother, Damon. He's literally my best friend. And honestly, every time I get any type of, anybody sends me any money, or I get like a YouTube check or anything like that, I always send my brother like a little bit, and it varies because there were times where literally nobody cared about the show. 8 people were listening and 4 of the listens are me, but my brother was always there talking to me when I was doing Lyft and DoorDash full time, and I would be like writing the outro freestyles, and we would be going over the bars and talking about the beats. And every time I would release an episode, he would talk to me about what he liked and what could have been better. And yeah, if anybody inspires me, as far as my main inspiration to always continue doing what I want to do, no matter who's listening, it would definitely be my brother. But my main goals in life, who inspired me to pursue my main goals in life, it comes from within, buddy. It comes from within.
After recent events, Kendrick and Drake beef, Chromacopia, should Tyler be inducted into the Big Three?
He should already be in the Big Three. I don't even think the conversation needs to happen, really. J. Cole, dude, what are you doing? Like, in hindsight, like, it's easy to be like, oh, it's because of Port Antonio. It's because of 7 Minute Drill. It's because of The Apology. J. Cole should have been out of the Big Three solely due to the fact that his albums are just not considered as impactful as they once were. When you actually take a look at Tyler the Creator's run of the past 7 years and the quality of the product he's been putting out, like, when you look at the stage presence, the performance, the attention to detail, the production, the actual raps themselves, you're like, why would anybody act like, I understand that everybody has their taste, art is subjective, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I understand if you just like J. Cole's style more, but when you actually think about it, throw on any old J. Cole song, throw on any old Tyler song from the past 7 years, and put him in a versus battle and see what happens. That's all I'm gonna say. Actually, that's not fair, because if you put them in a versus battle like straight up where they're performing live and it's just them on a mic, J. Cole has this presence of like a rapper's rapper. But when it comes to the actual overall talent of the artist, Tyler clears, and I don't actually think it's that close.
What's your favorite cartoon intro song? Anime is not included.
The original Pokemon, like, Gotta Catch 'Em All goes crazy. Danny Phantom, Oh my God, the Fairly Odd Parents theme was like bumping. But I might have to go with the classic, because I mean, who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Where's the love for the OG Teen Titans, though?
Derapy, as a kid, what cartoon would you say had the most impact on you? It's SpongeBob, and it's not close at all.
This question is not meant to be contentious because I've never been a Drake fan and was a Drake hater since I heard of him in 2010. But I've been wanting to ask you this since shortly after I discovered the show. How could a Drake fan who's been listening since he was a teen for 15 years go from Drake is my GOAT rapper to eviscerating Drake on a podcast within a span of 1 or 2 months? You said you were rooting for Drake to destroy Kendrick in a beef in May. By July or August, you were destroying Drake on your podcast. That sounds like a 180-degree change in your opinion. Or in my opinion, I assume. What happened?
I knew somebody would ask this, and it sucks that, like, something that could have easily been used for the title of this episode, I'm answering like 45 minutes exactly into the podcast. But the answer is actually quite simple to me. I'm almost 30 years old. I hate saying that, but I'm a mature person, I believe, compared to who I was when I first started listening to Drake. And your values and your moral compass develop and form into something solid over time. And there are certain things that I discovered about Drake that I did not know that are just simply lines that I wouldn't cross as far as supporting somebody. I've been meaning to make an episode about this. I've recorded multiple bits for it, and I just haven't gotten it out, but I guess I'll just say it here. I haven't listened to Drake in, I don't know, like, I don't think I've listened to a full Drake song in like maybe a month. And I say full Drake song because sometimes when I shuffle, it comes on automatically. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. And then I start thinking about the things that I know, the knowledge I've been cursed with. Like, I cannot listen to Drake without thinking about the fact that he kissed a 17-year-old when he was in his mid-20s, because I was just in my mid-20s. And I wouldn't support anybody that I know that did that. So how can I just listen to him and pretend like that didn't happen? Like, I can't not think about how terrible the performance in The Heart Part 6 was. I will never get out of my head him saying this Epstein angle is the shit I expected. Like, I cannot let these things go. I can't pretend like they didn't happen. And I feel like as far as the 180-degree change, I think that one thing that people don't talk about a lot is that oftentimes the people that hate things or people the most are the same people that used to love that person or thing the most. And I feel like that's why it was kind of easy for me to turn on Drake, because my expectations were so high, because I did have so much like love and admiration for him and the music, and I felt let down. And I feel like that's why it was kind of easy for me to go so hard on him, because I already felt like I knew him. A lot of the stuff that Kendrick was talking about, like I'd heard rumors of before, but I just never really looked into it. And when I actually put it all together, I was like, this isn't the type of person that really needs my listen. This person doesn't deserve my money or my time. So how could I mean, yeah, was it convenient for me for the sake of views? I guess you could view it that way, but at the same time, there is money to be made and views to be gotten if I continue to take Drake's side. But at the end of the day, to wrap up like this segment, Drake, for all intents and purposes, seems like a bad human being based on the things that he's done and he's willing to do when it comes to his behavior with Adonis, trying to hide his child, and the whole like playing border patrol thing. The multiple losses and the rap beefs is just kind of a stain on the legacy. But the things that were exposed about him, like I did not know until this beef, until I saw it in somebody else's YouTube video, that he was the one initiating weird conversations with Millie Bobby Brown, talking about how he missed the girl. He missed this 14, 15-year-old girl. I miss you. That is predatory behavior. I'm not just going to pretend like that didn't happen. I'm not just going to bump One Dance and Passion Fruit as if this isn't the same guy. You're kissing a teenager on the mouth after she tells you that she's 17. You're texting a teen girl saying that you miss her. You're dating other young girls either right before they turn 18 or right after. Like, he's a creep. So it might seem like a jarring transition, but the fact of the matter is the information was jarring to me. And I have a wife. God willing, we'll have a daughter someday, and it just feels weird to say I have love for this woman and have love for this potential future daughter of mine, but at the same time walk around talking about how great Drake is. It just doesn't sit right with me. And I'm kind of grateful to Kendrick and anybody else that was creating content around that time, pointing to these things that I was choosing as a Drake fan to ignore for a while. But once I actually got the full picture, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable listening to this anymore. So yeah, I don't listen to Drake anymore. I'm not a Drake fan. Maybe someday I'll be able to come back around and like enjoy his music in a nostalgic way. But I'm never going to forget the things that I learned this year about him, especially throughout me doing those series of videos on him, those podcast episodes. So yeah, that's how the change happened. It was pretty natural, actually. When you spend as many hours as I did working on those Kendrick and Drake episodes, and you really peel back the layers like Pusha T wanted, you know, you really get to see the guy kind of for it. Also, he was wearing blackface. There's just so many different things about Drake that I wish I didn't know. He had sex with Wayne's girl. Like there's just so many different things that I know that completely changed my perspective on it. So yeah, there's the Drake portion that some of you are probably very happy to hear about. But this stuff, I know it's easy for people that haven't been on the channel for a while or don't know me all that well because they haven't listened to that many episodes of the show. But I am, if nothing else, going to like tell you exactly how I feel. And exactly how I feel is that the music doesn't suddenly become bad because I've learned these things about him, but I cannot in good faith continue to enjoy it when I know the things that I know. Like, it's not just, you know, I mean, obviously I have to be real since we're 50 minutes into the Yap Sesh. I did understand the benefit of capitalizing on the growing audience by continuing to talk about Drake getting smoked. But everything that I said did come from a real place. Did I decide to continue a series talking about the same thing so I could finish it because I knew it would help grow the channel? Yeah. But did I also genuinely think Drake was getting smoked? And was I also genuinely disliking him more and more with each passing day? Yes. Both things can be true. No more Drake talk. Why aren't you doing voiceovers? I think you'd be really great at it, or even reading ad spots. Thank you. I think I could be like a pretty talented voice actor. Some would argue that editor Derek's better at the voices than me, but that's a conversation for another day. The real question I want to know is, do you use Dr. Squatch Men's Natural Soap? Are you like baiting me into doing free promo for these people? The answer is yes, I've used it before and it's dope. Actual question, do you plan on doing more album commentary type series like you have with To Pimp a Butterfly? More Kendrick albums seems like the obvious next step, but there's a lot more I'm sure we'd all like to hear you speak on. The short answer is yes. Is Eminem in your top 50 rappers? No.
What?
Not a question, but interesting thing. I saw you mentioned by a lot of people in Kendrick Lamar's subreddit, so that's cool.
Really? Somebody tell me what they're saying. I'm not gonna go on to Kendrick Lamar's subreddit. What inspired you to make a podcast? I already answered that. Who is your top three minus Kendrick, Tyler, and Kanye in that order? You're gonna have to be a bit more specific. So if you are hearing this, ask that question again, but be more specific. Top three artists, top three rappers, top three ever, top three of this generation. I don't know. Kendrick and Tyler are two, are one and two though. Okay, do you actually have an editor or is it just you? I still can't tell if this is a bit or not. Why do people keep asking this?
How long would this bit have to be?
What's your favorite MF Doom song? If you have one, I don't have one. What's the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you?
This is a mistake.
Thank God we're so deep into this podcast, so like most people aren't going to hear this. When I was a freshman in high school, my dear friend Chancey, right? Him and I were really good friends, but we also had this mutual friend that was a girl that I happened to be quote unquote dating at the time, because what even is dating when you're 14? But long story short, I misinterpreted a text message that she sent me, and I thought that she was offering to provide me some type of sexually related thing, right? Long story short, that thing ended up not happening. But a few days later, right, I totally forgot that I had told my boy Chancey, I was like, hey, you know, homegirl's talking like she's gonna do this. I've never had that. I'm excited, right? Tell me why this man literally right in front of the girl just asked her if she did it. Like if we did the thing. And she's like, what? No? Derek, did you tell him that we were gonna... Dude.
Bro, that's brutal.
I wanted... I have never wanted to cease existence until that very moment. I have never felt shame like that before in my entire life. It just didn't occur to me that he would just blow up my spot like that. Who would do so? That was the most shame I've ever felt. I don't know if I felt that much shame since then. Like, who would do something like that? Thank you for making me think about that. And I'm sorry. What's the best book you've ever read? Any genre, fiction or nonfiction? Honestly, that Invincible comic is gonna stick with me for a while. I would like to reread that. What's your favorite fast food chain? Chick-fil-A, and it's not close. I've been there probably 2,000 times. I'm not even joking. Have you ever heard of or listened to Alan Watts? I've heard of Alan Watts. I've never listened to him. Very important question that will further impact how I feel about you, kind sir. Who is your main in Melee? Falco, then Luigi, then Roy. But Falco, man, dude, once you get between 60 or 75 damage, usually that forward smash gets them off the map. And I was so good with that finisher. Once he jumps in the air and you hit him with that down A, we're talking GameCube. What a great finishing move. Mario also has a similar forward air smash that really finishes you off. Pause. Okay. But yeah, Falco's the main. My brother used to always play as Fox. Man, we had some battles. We used to cook level 9 computers. Great question. What's the best way to cook a Cornish hen? I don't know. Ask my mom. That's not a yo mama joke. It's a my mama joke. Yo, you check out the new card game, Alestrals? No. Dork. I'm just kidding. I'm sure it's very fun.
Your ass.
What's your favorite movie? Also, I totally think you should do more movie episodes. I agree. My favorite movie, I just have to give you the first ones that come to mind. Baby Driver, Dark Knight, and Seven. Those are the first ones that come to mind. I don't know if they're actually the best movies I've ever seen or they're actually my favorite, but I know Baby Driver is, oh my God, I love that movie. I don't care if you hate Kevin Spacey. He was great in that movie. I'm sorry. And Ansel Elgort, I don't even know what else that guy does. I think he's a great singer. I think he was on a Logic song. I am at the point where I am yapping. I need to move on. What's your favorite song that's come out from a rap beef from any era? I know this is basic and probably just Kendrick glazing, but Euphoria is pretty legendary. I'm not going to lie. Do you hoop? If so, what's your playstyle comparison? I do hoop. I need to get back in the rec. I used to play basketball almost every day, but I've been so locked in with a podcast lately. I just haven't been getting down to this rec center I have a membership at enough. Oh my God, I just realized I think my membership's up soon. I need to start hooping. I'm getting fat. What's my playstyle comparison? Probably Russell Westbrook, because I trick people into thinking that I'm going really hard, I'm pretty good at floaters. I'm pretty good at defense. I can snatch some boards. Even though I practice shooting more than anything, I still can't shoot. But yeah, I'm good for defense, hustle plays. I have a pretty decent handle, actually. But Russell Westbrook was my favorite player for a while after Dwayne Wade. Prime Dwayne Wade was my favorite player growing up. And then Russell Westbrook for a while. And yeah. Who's your rap Rushmore based on your taste and significance to your life? Not deserves to be there. They're kind of similar. My rap Rushmore, for me personally, it's Tyler, Kendrick, Gambino, and Lil Wayne. That's my Rushmore. That's my style. That's my flavor. What other music commentators inspired you? Are there commentators in other genres which have influenced you? Why is the editor funnier than regular Derapy? What is this?
Yeah.
I'm about to do a whole episode without him just to show y'all something, okay? I'm funny. I swear to God.
You're nothing without me.
I don't have really other music commentators that inspire me, honestly. I just really started. I've been listening to music and talking about it critically for a while, but I just recently started making actual podcast episodes about it. My number one inspiration would just be Anthony Fantano. I've watched probably hundreds of his videos, and I just really appreciate the work that he puts in. He truly is the internet's busiest music nerd. Are you proud of the growth of your channel?
He got distracted.
Are you proud of the growth your channel has obtained in the last couple of months? Do you think it'll stay that way? If so, for how long? Love the content, man. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am extremely proud of the growth of this channel. I cried real tears when I hit 20,000 subscribers. Do I think it'll stay that way? The beautiful thing about YouTube and content creation is it really depends on me, doesn't it? I mean, as much as I appreciate the support, and I know that there are many people that comment that are like, take a break if you need to, we'll be here as long as you, blah, blah, blah. Like, I appreciate that stuff. Truthfully, though, the channel is dependent on, like, how hard I go, how much love I put into what I'm doing, and how much, my editor chooses to continue putting up with me. So, by the way, that's just a reminder. If you're a member, I appreciate you. It's the only way that I could convince my wonderful editor to continue putting in all the work that he does. So, if you're not a member, please consider becoming one. It's literally $1. How much do $1 cost? Love the content, man. Keep it up. I will. For how long? How long am I going to keep doing Derapy? I'm going to keep doing Derapy until I die. So, I hope you're in it for the long haul because it will not stop. Do I play video games? I'm only playing one right now. I really want to get Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. If you have that game, please let me know how it is. I haven't had a fighter game like that in a while, and I'm afraid to get back in. The last really good Dragon Ball Z fighting game that I had was Raging Blast 2, and I've been trying to find something equivalent to that game, and I haven't found it. But Sparking Zero looks really good. It looks really fun. I really want it, but we'll just see if it's in the cards financially. What do you think about the Kendrick Stadium Tour announcement and the Harper Bazaar interview? I don't know if I said that right. Sorry. Have you seen Piece by Piece, the Lego movie yet? Review? Question mark. What is your favorite travel destination? I got excited. Okay. What do I think about the Kendrick Stadium Tour announcement? I didn't even know that happened. Editor Derek fact checked that for me. I don't know if that's real.
It's real.
If he did announce a tour, we will be there no matter what. The Harper's Bazaar interview, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know that it might seem like I follow Kendrick's every move because some would argue that's what my channel's built on. I don't know every time he does something. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I heard in that interview that he gave a little bit of context surrounding Not Like Us, and it wasn't quite exactly what I expected. I don't care enough about it to talk about it. I just can't keep talking about this beef. Have I seen the Piece by Piece Lego movie yet? Review? Question mark. I will go see that movie. Actually, no, I tried to go see that movie, but it wasn't in the theater that was closest to me, and I'm very upset about it. When it comes out, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to watch it. I'm sure I'll love it. What's my favorite travel destination? I don't really travel like that, but I am, if you've made it this far, you get some personal information about me that you probably don't need. I'm going to be in Los Angeles next week. So if you live in LA and you want to see Derapy, hit me. I don't know if we'll actually meet up or anything. I just want to let you know that I'm going to be there. And if you have any advice, please give it to me. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm already almost done with this. It's only been like an hour.
Only an hour.
First of all, love your content, man. Thank you. Your podcast is one of my favorites out here. Would you be open to do a music review on me? It would be an honor to partner with you. I could send you my Gmail and give you all my content for free. I don't make music for money. I do it for the joy of it and bring the message forward. God bless. I would be more than happy to review your music. That'll be $5. Become a certified therapist. Join the Discord. Post your music in the music review channel. Shoot me a DM. It's $5, and I will review one song.
Try again.
I will review one song.
There you go.
One song at a time. Do you think that Chromacopia is Tyler's best work? If yes, why? If no, why? And which album do you think is his best work? Igor's his best work. I've listened to Chromacopia probably 20 times now. I want to get there, but every time I hear Balloon, I'm like, nope, this is not Igor. Sorry. My very last question is the very first question that was posted here, and it says, do you still listen to Drake? How do I say this? No. Forgive me for not doing shout outs. This is an extremely long episode. If you want to support, become a member for $1 or become a certified therapist for the $5 membership tier. Thank you so much for hanging out. I have to get this to my editor. It's going to be pure hell trying to get this out by the end of the day, but I appreciate you being here, especially if you made it this far. I don't take any of you or any of this for granted. I'm not going to stop. We're going to keep it pushing. If you want to do something like this, start talking to your phone, talking to a mic, make your music, upload your video. You can do it. I am not that special. I mean, I am special, but I'm not any more special than you. You can do whatever you put your mind to. I know that sounds so corny, and it's also not entirely true, but when it comes to creating content, it is. Don't let anybody dim your light. Love you, mean it. Enjoy the outro. Thank you so much for joining me in Derapy today. New sessions every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Please leave a 5-star rating.
Why is nobody disrespecting me back? Because they're just not good enough to disrespect me. That's the problem.
Know y'all sick and tired of me talking about my hot wife, so here's another line where I just say that she is not cold. I talk a lot of ambo. I'm Kyrie with the handle. I'm Josh and I'm more like Drake, and this just the preamble. Right around town I'm grinding, I put in time, and I'm the master of rhyming. I'm the master of timing. It just took patience, just started wearing a watch. Oh, not to mention I'm rocking a ring, looking more forward to rocking more bling. Keep it low key, I'm scary. I don't want beef unless I'm at a steakhouse. I'm the man, got no house, got a plan, sell an ounce. I'm just playing, it's a joke. You keep quiet, just stay mouse. Got the key, I'm like Khaled, but the thing is I'm no hater. Give my props to Bunny, huh? I got love for the creator. Woo, woo. Just got my money up. I just hit the lotto when the currency is happiness. Y'all think that it is blasphemous? Well, you don't know the half of it. I just checked the analysis. This rap shit, I done mastered it. That's an M1, dunking on the ops like I'm 6'5", spitting like a newborn, but I have better manners. New crib like a manor, I want a baby minor. The haters, they down to fight, I'm giving out free shiners. My blinders, man, they stay on, I'll say again, I'm take on. Black Liam Neeson, pull up in the Nissan, cooler than some Freon. Shine bright like I'm neon, not the best, I'm beyond it. Believe it. You can't sit at my table. I'm Kana, you are able. You sitting around on TikTok. I'm trying to make my wrist rock. You trying to get your rocks off. I'm trying to get my